The Cremation of Sam McGee. Tell me when to start.
Go ahead.
There are strange things done neath the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold, and the Arctic Trail has their secret tales that will make your blood run cold. The Northern Lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was the night on the marge of Lake LaBarge when I cremated Sam McGee. Now, Sam McGee was from Tennessee, where the cotton blooms and blows. Why he left his home in the South to roam around the pole, God only knows. He was always cold, but the land of gold seemed to lure him like a spell, though he'd often say in his homely way, he'd rather live in hell. On a Christmas day, we were making our way over the Dawson Trail. Talk of your cold, through the canvas fold it stung like a driven nail. If our eyes we'd close, our lashes froze, till sometimes we couldn't see. It wasn't much fun, but the only one to whimper was Sam McGee. And that very night, as we lay packed tight in our robes beneath the snow, and the dogs were fed and the moon overhead was dancing heel and toe, he turned to me, and Cap, says he, I'll cash in this trip, I guess. And if I do, I want you to not refuse my last request. It ain't being dead. It's the awful dread of an icy grave that pains. And I want you to swear that foul or fair, you'll cremate my last remains. Now, Pal's last need is a thing to heed, and I swore I wouldn't fail. We started on at the crack of dawn, but God, he was ghastly pale. He crouched on the sleigh and he raved all day of his home in Tennessee. And before nightfall, a corpse was all that was left of Sam McGee. There wasn't a breath in that land of death as I hurried, horror-driven, with a corpse half hid that I couldn't get rid because of a promise given. He was lashed to the sleigh and he seemed to say all day, you promised true, and it's up to you to cremate those last remains. In the long, long night by the lone firelight, when the huskies round in a ring howled their woes to the homeless snows, God, how I loathed that thing. And day by day that quiet clay seemed to heavy and heavier get, though on I went, though the dogs were spent, and the moon was night unspent, till we came to the barge of Lake LaBarge, and a derelict there lay. It was jammed in the ice, and I saw in a trice it was called the Alice May. I looked at it, and I thought of it. Then I looked at my frozen chum. Here, said I with a sudden cry, is my crematorium. Some planks I tore from the cabin floor, and I built a roaring fire. Some coal I found that was lying around, and I heaped the fuel higher. The furnace roared, and the flames just roared, and the furnace roared, and the planes just soared, such a sight you seldom see. Then I burrowed a hole in the glowing coal and stuffed in Sam McGee. Then I made a hike, for I didn't like to hear him sizzle so. And the dogs were spent and the huskies went and the wind began to blow. I do not know how long in the snow I wrestled with grisly fear, but the dogs were out and dancing about ere again I ventured near. I was sick with dread, but I bravely said, I'll just take a peek inside. He's surely cooked, and it's time I looked. Then the door I opened wide. There sat Sam, looking cool and calm in the midst of the furnace roar. He wore a smile you could see a mile, and he said, please close the door. It's warm in here, and I greatly fear you'll let in the cold and storm. Since I left Plum Tree in Tennessee, it's the first time I've been warm. There's strange things done neath the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The Northern Lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lake LaBarge when I cremated Sam McGee. Now, I stumbled a bit on that.